Hey, what's happening, family? It's your man, Mark Black. Y'all know what time it is. Morning Joe. You know what I'm saying? Lift your cups up. I got mine. Hope you got yours. Let's talk about a couple of things today to get our day started off right, shall we? First of all, I want to give a shout out to somebody I actually never expected to give a shout out to. This person I've watched for a while. You know, he's a celeb. Watched him do comedy. I'll be honest, I never really thought that he was super funny. I mean, he's alright, but I ain't gonna sit here and say I thought he was among the best comedians of all time. But now he's the host of The Daily Show. And there's a lot of times when he'll say stuff that I agree with him. Not to say that I'm a complete lefty. I'm not in the whole left-right spectrum of America's government shit, but yeah, there's times when this guy speaks that I agree with him. But he did a spot recently, and it wasn't a spot that he broadcasted, I think, on national TV, right? It was one of those behind-the-scenes spots in The Daily Show. Yeah, I'm talking about your man Trevor Noah, or I should say our man Trevor Noah, right? Trevor talked about reparations. There was a question asked to him by a member of the audience, a white guy, who asked him, should reparations be specifically for a particular group of people, or should it be for everybody? And the white man talked about, you know, the recent loss of jobs and deindustrialization and stuff like that, right? And indicated that, you know, that's a concern of his. And I would agree. Believe it or not, as an American, I think even white folk have the right to advocate, go ham about the things that affect them directly. So, Trevor, which I gotta be honest with you, with absolute grace, poise, and just complete intellect, proceeded in the next 5 minutes to completely demolish all of the arguments that you hear from people about why it is that reparations is not only due, but who it's due to. For those of you who haven't seen the video, it's definitely up on the Daily Show channel here on YouTube, so I'm not going to link it. Do the research yourself. But Trevor talks about slavery specifically, right? He talks about, you know, the history, our history as ADOS people. And he runs it all the way down. But the key things that he said in this had nothing to do with us. Strangely enough, it had everything to do with people like him and the questioner. There were two things that he said in particular that I found not only interesting and appropriate, but should be understood by even those of us who advocate for the remediation of our people, right? For the restoration of our people via reparations. He said that this is a date that American black folk have with their government. In other words, this conversation, this transformational moment ain't got nothing to do with individual white folks and immigrants and whoever. I mean, this ain't got shit to do with them. Those are conversations that are a part of a greater conversation. But our reparations claim, our justice claim, don't have shit to do with any of these people. It is a conversation we have to have with the government. There's a lot of folk out there who have seen a recent video where a brother talked about HR 40, broke it all the way down, actually read the bill. And to this brother's credit, I think that was a dope ass thing to do. It's a typical Mark Black thing to do a video breaking down the entirety of a report or a bill or a document of some sort, right? However, HR 40 isn't going to be reparations. We all knew that, right? If you've been doing this advocacy, you've been doing this political work, you understand that it was never understood by any of us to be the bill, right? To be the thing that is going to get us reparations. No, HR 40 is a litmus test. By the way, in case you were wondering, this is the second thing I wanted to talk about. If we couldn't get a politician of any stripe to sign off on something as milquetoast, as weak sauce, as obviously not promising any damn thing to the American descendants of slavery as HR 40, as limited as this thing is, even it refers to us directly, right? Think of HR 40 as the equivalent of say their name, right? When we have these people who talk about extrajudicial executions of our people at the hands of so-called law enforcement, right? One of the things that activists have been doing is to remind people to use their names, to say their names, right? To say Sandra Bland, to say Alton Sterling, to say Philando Castile, and so on and so forth, right? So that we don't forget these people who have paid the ultimate price of being ADOS in America. HR 40 is an opportunity for these so-called politicians on a national level to say our name. This bill specifically refers to us, the American descendants of slavery. If they can't even sign off on a discussion about the American descendants of slavery, that lets you know right there where they stand, who they are, right? ADOS, the one thing that we've done and we've done effectively is we have changed the narrative surrounding our lineage, surrounding our justice claim, and surrounding what's our due, and so on and so forth, so much to the point that people are telling on themselves, right? It's exposing those people who we needed to know were not on the team. A lot of these ancient civil rights fossils, the national black, or what's it, congressional black caucuses, right? Groups like the NAACP and, the Urban League, groups like NCOBRA, not dissing them, but what the fuck has they done? Now everybody wants to jump on board. Everybody wants to claim, we did it first. We were here first. And so on and so forth. Okay, fine. I'll give y'all credit for being the first ones to talk or being the first ones to jump up and say something. Now that you got your credit, instead of trying to divide or take leadership over a transformational moment you had no hand in creating, why don't you fall back? Or better yet, jump up in support of this new moment. Right? Nobody's saying that we shouldn't pay homage to or give credit to people like Dr. Claude Anderson or whatever the case may be. But he was right about this. He ain't right about every motherfucking thing. Who cares about personalities anyway? Look, y'all all know that I am an avid proponent, respecter of Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell. But they could start dancing for butter biscuits tomorrow. They could fall completely off. And that's not going to stop a goddamn thing about what it is that I'm doing, because I'm not doing it for them. I'm not doing it because they say, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. No. HR 40 and us trying to mention it, get people to sign off on it, is nothing more than a litmus test. It's playing a political game. If they can't even sign off something that we clearly can establish does not provide us with our due, but mentions us, that's all we need to know about the motherfuckers. They canceled. And so many people act like out here that because they may have mentioned something first, or because they will, plumb the particular depths of a particular thing or whatever, that they're so much more superior than people who may not do that. Look, I have moments where I will look at a report and I think that the information is so salient that I want to go in depth and bring it to you. We read it line by line, word for word. It's not often, but I do it. Here's the thing though. Consistently, I tell you, I teach you, I learn with you to do the research myself, and for you to do the research yourself. I will provide you with links. But if you don't have the interest in learning what it is that you need to learn to be an effective advocate out here, all the me bashing you over the head with 10 tons of data is not going to make you be that. And it doesn't make me superior to you that I do it. All it does is it just means that I'm demonstrating my clear support and advocacy for what I believe in, which is this justice claim, this fight for justice for the American descendants of slavery. That's the only difference. I'm not better than you. I'm not on a higher intellectual level, whatever the fuck that means. I'm not the only voice in the so-called new black media. And yeah, I say so-called because, look, whether it's recent or not, doesn't matter. It's the media. Some of it's effective. Most of it ain't. So, just to recap, shout out to Trevor Noah. He gets it. He's exactly what the hell an ally of ADOS looks like. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to mention. Because I said that he mentioned that we were supposed to have a discussion with the government. He was right on that. The second thing that he mentioned, which I thought was completely inappropriate or completely appropriate, was that it's not his thing to say anything on except support. I'm not asking for Pan-Africanists, for whoever that I may think I might have beef with them. I'm not asking for them to speak up in my defense or on my behalf, right? If you can't do nothing more than just shoot a damn tweet with a hashtag that says ADOS in support, fine, right? But if you can't support, then fall fuck back. This is not your conversation, right? If you an immigrant or a Pan-Africanist or white folks or whatever the case may be, support justice. You should do that anyway, right? Nobody's asking you to be an advocate. Nobody's asking you to get on the front lines and risk everything. I understand some of yous don't feel like it. Some of yous don't have it like that. Just support quietly if you have to. Or fall back. So yeah, here's what an ally looks like. HR 40 is a litmus test. It's not going to get us what we ask it for. It's got so many problems and holes that anybody who looked at it, which I did, I actually read the entirety of the bill long before this video came out. You know what I'm saying? Know that it's full of problems. It's just a way of being able to sift the wheat from the chaff. Last thing I want to say is that nobody is better than anybody else in this thing. I don't care what you call yourself. If you're fighting for justice for our ancestors and for us today, you're on my team. That's all I wanted to say. Links in the description field to products that support me and my channel. And as always, family, I want to wish you love, peace, prosperity, and power. Real power to our people.